I'm starting a minute early because the kitten is being super adorable over my shoulder in the blinding light that is the sunshine. So, yeah. If I get distracted, it's because the kitten's back there doing kitten things. Welcome, everybody. I'm early for the first time ever. As we navigate this life. It's a Friday. It's Friday day. It actually was overcast today, so the temperature is very reasonable. In the room, quite comfortable. So let us get started. The little kitten back there doing the kitten things. Little buddy. You guess wait to lay down? Yeah. Eat whatever that is on the windowsill. I have no idea. Well, now it's perfect time. Elon announced he's going to get rid of the ability to block users on Twitter or X or what stupid thing he wants to call it, which has led to a whole bunch of people fleeing, enjoying the other social media networks that are short form blogs, and that caused Blue Sky to basically crash today. They couldn't load anything because everyone's like, "Look, get me out of here," which is woo. So I've been given 3 more Blue Sky invite codes, so that should give me at 3, 6, 5. So I think I'll have 11 or so by the time we do our Charity Tuesday on the 29th. I'm gonna raise some money for Maui, and hopefully Southern California doesn't get obliterated. I'm going to raise money for them too because they've got a hurricane coming, and they're looking at getting like years worth of rain in one day. So good luck, folks living in the Inland Empire, Palm Springs, Indio, Salton Sea. You guys can get hammered hard. I know Randall Cornet's out there, so you know if any of those guys out there, just find high ground, flee, do whatever you can by Monday evening or Monday morning. I guess that's when they're supposed to get hit with. Might be a Category 1 by the time it hits Southern California, but it'll be a tropical storm deep inland with a lot of rain. So we're looking at winds up to like 70 miles an hour with 7 to 10 inches of rain to fall, which is not what those places are supposed to do. Okay, so what's I supposed to talk about today? I don't remember. Well, just one of these. Where'd the kitten go? Oh, just looking out the window. She's hiding. She's behind Godzilla. Wonder if I can, like, if I use the camera and I block out some of the light, move my head out of the which way to move my head? Move that head, my head that way, and the hand has to go over there. It's really hard to do this when it's not actually mirrored. There's that little kitten. She's so adorable. Little buddy. Duh. I'm good. Kitten brain. It's just resetting my brain every 10 seconds. I go over look at the kitten, I forget what I'm doing. So, are you not entertained? Iglemon has cheese. Citizen 54. Trump rescinds his offer to show the most beautiful exonerating report. People often come up to him with tears in their eyes. Sir, this is the most beautiful, perfect report. Big, strong people. Yeah, he didn't have a press conference on Monday that he promised that was going to put everyone to shame. I mean, if I was a lawyer, I'd be like, shut up, don't give away your defense strategy. But at the same time, I don't think he has one. And his lawyers are terrible, and half of them are indicted as well. So, and the other half he hasn't been paying. So I don't know if he took anyone's advice or just didn't have anything to show. First press conference on Monday. Oh, you made a jump. Good job, little kitten. Good job, little buddy. Yeah, is that your friend, monkey? Is that your friend? Yeah. Give him all the sniffs. Whee! Monkey. Don't chase the kitten. Not my name, Houston. I got something from my broker, U.S. Bank, asking if I want to participate in something regarding BBBY in the Chapter 11. I need to mail if I want to participate. What is? I have no idea. I Don't know. I don't know what that even would refer to. Participate in what? I know there's the opt-out forms. And the opt-out forms, you have to opt out by September 1st. And the opt-out has to do with reserving your right to sue whatever crud of debt is left behind after the rest of the company emerges from bankruptcy. You wouldn't be suing the new entity. You'd be suing what's left of the old entity. And I don't know why you would want to sue the old entity for anything, because they wouldn't have any money. Just a lot of unpaid debt. And I guess you can pile in there and pay legal fees for no reason. That's the opt-out. And I don't know. I don't know why you'd want to do that. Says 54, is it from National Financial Services LLC? Because I got that email too. I hold my BBBY and Fidelity. I have not been getting any messages from Fidelity regarding BBBY. They've sent me dip doodle. So I don't know. Not my name. Yours is from Kirkland Ellis, LLP, and Nicole Schatz. Schatz is an unfortunate last name. Tom Zock. Hey, everyone. I'm just taking a quick bath, freshen up for the start. Woo! Early morning riser over there. 64, notice of non-voting status to holders of impaired claims and interests deemed to reject the plan, etc., etc., etc. Yeah, that's the opt-out thing. If you opt out, you reserve your right to sue a entity that has nothing. So you can do it if you want. I'm not planning on suing anybody. Paratarian, a long time, man. Hope you've been well. Haven't been able to watch for a while. New job is as a private wealth advisor. What have I missed? How's No Labs going? No Labs is down here, but they released their 10K this week. They had their earnings report. They're spending money on R&D. They're creating their usable devices for their non-invasive testing of the non-invasive glucose monitors, because they've got they're hoping to build like 100 of them this year so they can use them in testing for their phase 3 FDA trials, and then maybe perhaps get approval from the FDA, and they can sell devices and become cajillionaires. They also noted that they have financial solvency through at least December, when they would have to raise money, and that's probably through more stock sales. So I wouldn't doubt seeing a dilution come in December of selling a few million more shares. They probably have 8 months to a year until they hear from FDA on stuff. So they have to survive in the meantime while they're waiting. Fair turn. Got a client today, a really interesting guy with the best name ever. Ayafaka. God damn it. Fair turn also. Why are people clinging to hope that RC is somehow going to say why? It's dead, no coming back. His attempt at shifting the board was rebuked hard by current greedy board. There is no board. The board does not exist. They've all been jettisoned away. There's a receiver who's in charge of the company now. So anyone who is a member of the board is no longer a member of the board. He got a couple of people on the board when there was a board. And I don't know, there's the fact that Ryan Cohen is listed as a creditor in the service documents tells me that he's going to get everything for pennies on the dollar, because he bought up all that collateralized debt for pennies on the dollar. So that's what I think is going to happen. Either it's a lotto ticket or it's a complete loss and it's a write-off for next year. And those are the two ways I view this entire thing. Scott Pollan, GameStop price at end of the week makes it one of the top net equity per share investments in the entire USA stock market. That's some deep fucking value. Huh. Interesting. Izora. Look forward to every show. I enjoy very much. My BFF listens and is in a rough patch. Can you give a shout out to my BFF? Shout out to Izora's BFF. I don't have the name beyond that, but best friends forever. High five, patty cake, purple nurple, noogie, and wet willy. There you go. Scott Powell, Warren Buffett, and DFV both calculated net equity per share as an analyst metric. Well, I mean, why not? It was even better when it was $2.57 a share, wasn't it? Are you done harassing that poor little kitten? Yeah? Did you eat it? Was it delicious? Huh? Okay. ZW. Para, weird stuff on BBYQ. As Houston stated, this play is a speculative bet, not an investment. There's a chance for money to be made. Something weird's going to happen. And I am here for it. And if that weirdness is stick to the back of the head, then you know what? I asked for it. Tom Zock, Houston, RSI on daily for GME is at $24.90, lowest since 2019. Wind Moon. Wind Moon indeed. Yeah, monkey. Wind Moon. Just soon. Just do it already. I was looking at old Toyota Sunraiders, you know, those fiberglass RVs, and you can swap out four-wheel drive stuff on them fairly easily and fairly standardly for something that's a little bit better than that 22 RE 4-banger. But man, just getting the monkey butt on the road in a badass four-wheel drive RV while we go smash rocks would just be heaven. Wouldn't it, monkey? Would just be heaven. You don't have to have the Earth Roamer. We can do something cheaper. It's like 10 grand. It'd be super fun. And let's do it already. Jimmy D, my birthday is tomorrow. I'm wishing for SPY to open at $300 Monday morning. Yes. I don't have my SPY puts though, so not yet. MB. Psst, psst, psst. Got me done. So what is net equity per share? Can you do GME as an example? You take the value of everything they hold and compare that to all the price of the shares that are in existence. And that's your net equity per share. 88 Red Mustang. Happy birthday, Houston. How do you keep any faith in RC? He's allowed the stock to continuously be manipulated, tweets dumb shit, and gives no forward-looking plans for GME. The stock is hovering around $20 a share, which pre-split is about $80 a share, which post or pre blip squeeze, baby sneeze, baby squeeze, whatever you want to call it, that is still like 30 times higher than where it was. So, you know, I do think he's playing cards close to his chest, for sure. I do think he loves using little Easter eggs for people to ferret out because that's fun for everybody. And I think he also isn't allowed to talk explicitly about some things, namely because he's currently getting sued for pump and dump. I think the case can get tossed out personally, but it's just probably mum's the word or anything that's explicit. So he's got to, if anything, he's going to like dance around the issue. Reportedly stupid. Hey, Houston, I called TD to transfer my MMTLP. They said my account was now with Schwab. I told them to Schwab these nuts. You guys, killing me. Jason Blackwell, Houston. I want to tell you a joke about construction, but I'm still working on it. Am I caught up to the chat already on this? Ducey. Houston duties. Billy Mack, why does stocks go down when I buy and go up when I sell? It's like the algos know what I'm doing. It's all your fault, and it will always be your fault. And I'll blame you instead of China this time. So, but is that it? Is that it for a chat? Did I? Man, no one's talkative today. Should I bring the kitten back, monkey? Is that what we need? A monkey butt? Oh, I need to bring the kitten back. Go get the kitten. Go get the kitten. I wonder if I can carry all 3 cats at the same time. If they let me do that. No. Goodness gracious. We're through. We're done. Joshua just says, hey. And now I'm just going to sit in uncomfortable silence. Because the entire show is based upon the prompts you guys give me. And I got nothing. Does that mean I'm going to have to just stare at Google Earth for a minute? Let's do that. We love staring at Google Earth. Okay. So here's Maui. That's where we were yesterday. I want you to look at how clear a delineation this line is on where it gets rain and where it doesn't. Isn't that incredible? Look at that line. This is not the edge of a photograph. This is literally the rainfall line between these 2 places. You can follow it all the way around the island. It goes everywhere around the island. It's crazy. You can see like fields that were cultivated in the past are no longer irrigated. Like these were all like taro fields, sweet potato fields, all sorts of things that the Hawaiians grew crops on, and now it's just sort of arid sagebrush. All this, you see these little heiaus and rock areas. It's pretty nuts how much agriculture went on here, and it's just gone now. You get a couple little spots, people still grow things. You see a couple of farms up here, but it's wild that none of this is used for agriculture anymore. Mainly because it's cheaper to ship a bunch of food from like Chile to Hawaii than it is to grow it in Hawaii, because we subsidize food weird in the United States. We'll subsidize corn like crazy, but not much else. Yeah, so, hey, look, questions. Fantastic. We go back to that. Oh, fucking A, god damn it. Kitten. Distracting little monster. Okay. Bam. Okay, Bex. Driving and listening, sorry. Well, now you're texting while driving, so you're just going to get us all killed. Snowboard says, hey, Houston. Don says, you shade him. I'm driving. We'll talk when I get home. Logic just been on top chat. No, I'm on live chat. That's it. K-Bo, any news on Sears? Any news on Sears? Any news on Sears? Let's see here. Anything in the docket? Affidavit filed last week. German hearing. Nothing's been filed in a week. No. No news as far as I can see. Nothing. Not a dang thing. Hey, fat cat. What's up, buddy? Come say hi. Come here. Come on, Fetty. Come on. Come here. Here's your little buddy. Come on. Come say hi. You little turd. Yeah. Where'd you go? All right, fat cat's here. Mr. Lasuna, random one. What's the most disturbing fact you know? Stuff that's radio friendly. Well, the one I like to spring on people is that whenever you eat a date, you're eating a wasp. It always freaks people out. So no matter what kind of date it is, anywhere in the world, the only way you can pollinate a date tree is if a wasp crawls into the flower and dies. And the flower closes around it and forms the fruit, the date fruit. So dates aren't vegan. What happens is the fly lands in there and she lays a bunch of eggs and she dies. And then the little creatures eat their way out and fly away. And then the date grows and grows and grows and grows. As it does so, it desiccates the thorax, the exoskeleton of the wasp, and incorporates it into the fruit. And so every date fruit you've ever had, you've eaten the desiccated corpse of a wasp. How's that? Oh, sorry, figs. Sorry, Iggy, you're right, figs. Not dates, figs. That's a whole fact, and I got the plant wrong because for some reason every human being in the world says date when they mean fig and fig when they mean date. Yes, every fig you've ever had has had a wasp inside. Getting my facts wrong by using the wrong stupid word. Yes, the fig plant is a wasp. There you go. Doozy, Elon is fat. Well, I think he's on Ozempic now. So now he's just stuck taking diabetes medicine for the rest of his life. So there you go. Iggy Lamone, can you talk about the best design for future storms that hit Hawaii? Best design? Like buildings wise? Because current Hawaiian buildings are not built very well for hurricanes. Having pointy roofs, depending on which way the wind's coming, can actually create lift and pull the roof off the house. Because you'll have a low pressure inside the house that's happening, a high pressure inside the house because the windows will be all closed and stuff, and a low pressure outside as that wind blows over the roof and it'll just suck the roof off the house. So you want to tie down the roofs. You actually want to crack open windows or open your windows entirely and then put boards and stuff over them so stuff doesn't blow through. But you want to be able to get that pressure to equalize so you don't create like a high pressure inside the house that pops the roof off. Also, being on pilings is bad, but being on a concrete foundation is better. You'll want probably reinforced cinder block, reinforced concrete construction for a lot of the house. The single wall stick built in Hawaii that a lot of the Kama'aina homes are built out of, probably not the best thing to have for a big storm. When Iniki blew through Kauai in 92, one of the most powerful storms to ever make landfall anywhere on planet Earth. We're talking like 200 mile an hour sustained winds. It tore everything up. That storm was gnarly. So hopefully everyone rebuilt with better homes that will stand big storms like that. Hawaii normally doesn't get hit directly with the storms because of sort of the shape they make. We go back to the islands here. It's not so much like the shape they make like individual island, but the way they kind of trend a little bit northwest. So you have all this wind that blows from the northwest generally. So this water with the wind blowing is a little bit colder, and this stuff on the leeward side is several degrees warmer. So the storms, if they track a little bit north, they usually lose a lot of power and dissipate before they hit the islands. And if they track south, they generally stay with this warm water and keep going west. But Iniki came down and curled and then smashed into Kauai. And there's beaches that were sandy beaches on the Big Island that were destroyed in the waves created by Iniki and have never recovered. Like, the sand's been gone for 31 years and it will never come back. Just boulders and stuff now. So that's generally why they don't get hit with hurricanes too often. In 2014, what was the hurricane that hit Puna? Not Himine, that was the one that almost hit us when I first got to school there in 2003. I have to look this up because I can't remember. 2014 Hurricane Hawaii Puna. Zell, that's who it was. Zell. Duh. Okay. So I think we talked about Puna before. Puna is people live in Puna are Punatics. So Puna is this region south of Hilo. And in the 1950s, the large estates, the Bishop Estates, Campbell Estates, Big Five, the Dole, those guys, they owned huge chunks of land that had previously been not owned by anybody because it was Hawaiians who lived there. And as Hawaii was becoming a state, they're like, oh my gosh, tourists are coming. People want something tropical, and Hawaiian shirts are the big thing, and luau music, and don ho. And they decided, hey, we're going to subdivide all of this land and sell it in the back of newspapers halfway around the world. So you'd see those little classified ads in like the New York Times, Washington Post, Times of London, you name it. And you'd be like, hey, own an acre in paradise, only $1,000. Contact me at this number or whatever, get a mailing information. And they would cold sell these pieces of property sight unseen to people all over the world. And they're like, hey, I own an acre in Hawaii. Let's go check out the land. And they get out there, and it was just straight jungle. There were no roads. There was no electricity. There was no services. It was just jungle. And so you would get to a place, and you might own, I don't know, let's say this lot right here, right? It was straight jungle. These roads did not exist then. Straight jungle. And so you landed at a helo, and you would have to bushwhack. Let's see here. You have to bushwhack from the airport to your piece of land, like 14 miles through jungle. You're not going to be able to do that. I don't know if you ever climbed over lava rock, this thick jungle forest. You're not making it very far. So a few of the people who own the lands, they got together like, okay, we're going to get some of these big D9 Caterpillar bulldozers that can bulldoze with anything. And they bulldoze some roads. Didn't pave them. They bulldozed some. And the real estate agents were kind of on board. And through the 50s, 60s, and 70s, they're still selling the stuff people sight unseen. And a lot of the land people would buy, they'd fly to Hawaii to go check it out, and then they realized they couldn't get there, so they stopped paying taxes on it, and it would go up for auction and whatever. And then a lot of people consolidated a bunch of this land, and but there's a few developments that went in. Some got a little more developed than others. So like up here, you can see in Hawaiian Paradise Park, there's a lot more homes than out here in Hawaiian Acres. Plus, Hawaiian Paradise Park, you're a little closer to the ocean. It's a pinch warmer. You're kind of uphill in Hawaiian Acres, so it can actually be kind of chilly evenings. But these roads still didn't have electricity to them. They still didn't have any water. So a lot of if we zoom in, you'll probably see like catchment tanks in some of these places. So that might be a catchment tank there. But drilling through lava rock to make a well sucks. And so a lot of these places, they're all in catchment water. And so that's probably a catchment tank. These are probably catchment tanks. That's definitely a catchment tank, that round one there. There's one, the big round one. And so they're on rainwater. And, they're like drinking mosquito larvae and everything else. But anyway, Hurricane Azelle slapped into this thing. Category 1, Category 2. And the minute it hit the Big Island, it kind of lost a lot of power. It's got a couple of big mountains it's got to go over. The water offshore is cooler, so it's losing power as it comes to land anyway. But a lot of the trees in Puna are Ibizia trees. They're trying to forest a lot of the jungle or forest a lot of the lava rocks that were out there. In the Ibizias, trees that are from Africa, they grow fairly easily, but they are an equatorial jungle tree, so they aren't used to winds. And so the Ibizias just fell over like crazy, just collapsing houses and falling across roads and crushing chicken coops and all sorts of things. And so everyone out here, the roads were cut off. They had no power. They had nothing. And out here, it's really cheap to live because there's lack of services. You don't have hospitals. You don't have grocery stores. You don't have all that stuff. And so it's a lot of poor people, a lot of old people who are retired and want someplace cheap because they could buy a house for cheap out here. A lot of hippies, because hippies, they don't need anything. They don't even need shoes. They just live in a shipping container. They think it's the greatest thing in the world, man. And they get weird skin rashes and die. And then you got a boatload of meth addicts. And the meth addicts are the ones that took over. And it was apocalyptic in the days after this hurricane. I landed the day after the hurricane in 2014 to go to a wedding. And the stories on the radio and the rental car were insane. The meth heads overran the police department and looted it. The meth heads stole not one, not two, not three, but all of the Red Cross vehicles. They stole every one of them. Gone. Poof. Disappeared. They took over, and because all the trees down, it was almost impossible for people to get out of their homes, get to their homes, get services, get food. And the meth heads took all the stuff that was there to provide these services, And so for the entire 2 weeks I'm at this wedding, just stories of these like gangs of meth heads just looting and looting, looting. My friend Ahia, who you guys met on the show a year and a half ago or 2 years ago now when I was in Hawaii, she has a little house out here in Hawaiian Acres, and she has a security system with camera and everything. And of course, the power was out for, I don't know, a day or so. And then the power came back on, and her security camera came back on. And so her security camera, like, when it senses movements, it'll turn on a light. And so she got this notification like, hey, there's movement. She's looking at her phone, and she sees these hands move towards her lawnmower. Like, you can't see the head, you just see the hands going towards the lawnmower. Then the lights turn on, and the hands come away and disappear. They were just taking anything and everything they possibly could. Her next door neighbor grows fighting chickens. They do a lot of cockfighting in Hawaii, and he has lots of roosters and chickens. And so then instead of hen houses for chickens, a lot of the roosters, they just sort of put like an ankle ball and chain leash on the chicken, and they have this like little tiny teepee that's about yay big with a stick that holds it up, and the rooster just, if it rains, they go to that thing, but otherwise they're staked to the teepee tent. And she had to go through her house. She made sure the roofs were tied down and did all the hurricane check stuff. And she's telling the neighbor, like, hey, this hurricane's coming. You need to check everything. And the guy's like, nah, brah. Hurricanes never hit here. We'll be fine. The Aina protect us. And she's like, no, really, like, just go make sure you get all the stuff and you get all these chickens. And he's like, nah. And so hurricane's hitting, and she is terrified for her life. The wind's blowing 100 miles an hour. She's got her toddler son. They're in the bathtub with a mattress over them because the house feels like it's going to rip away any moment. And it goes on for like 14 hours. The hurricane just churning and pounding and churning and pounding. She said at one point in the night, and the way she described this was very much Obi-Wan Kenobi talking about life being snuffed out. She was like, I heard this scream that sounded like 1,000 lives ending at once. And when the storm was over, she got up, she realized it was her next door neighbor, the guy with all the chickens. His kid's trampoline got tossed up by the storm and then steamrolled every single solitary chicken that was in his yard. Going back and forth with the wind, just crushing all those chickens that had been chained down to their little tents. And that was the horror sound she was hearing over the wind, with all these chickens being snuffed out by a trampoline. So anyway, that's Puna. That's where Puna ticks live. And we've talked about Puna before in Leilani Estates, which is built on the rift zone from Kilauea. So you have usually 3 rift zones. You got the southwest rift zone, the northeast rift zone, and you have a weaker rift zone that goes to the north, which doesn't really produce much. But the northeast rift zone is where most of the famous lava flows we've seen recently have come from. And Leilani Estates was subdivided, just like all these places. Here you buy a piece of land. Some of them literally were homes that straddled the rift zone. Like where the rift zone is, the earth is pulling apart, right? So it's like a 20-foot chasm. They just filled that chasm with gravel and then built homes on top of it. And this is a level 1 volcanic hazard. Like, you cannot get a mortgage. You cannot get home insurance. You can buy a 4-bedroom house for $15,000. You might be able to live there for a few years, but the earth is going to open up and a curtain of fire will burst through your living room and your home will no longer exist. In 2018, that's exactly what happened. The earth opened up, and these lava flows hit and took out a whole bunch of homes that were in Leilani Estates. It opened up over here, Fissure 8, took out all these homes. This was entire neighborhoods here. Homes gone, absolutely gone. A lot of the Hawaiians are trying to blame the geothermal plant, saying it was their fault the volcano opened up, but the volcano does what the volcano does. Because they didn't get hit, and that's because they surveyed the land and they found a high point and they built the geothermal plant there because, like, well, if it opens up, this will be the best spot to be. But yeah, the lava flows that came through here were insane. They wiped out Pohiki, which were some great beaches and surf spots all through here. and they just wiped it all out. Gone. There was a really neat kind of jungle road that came along here, and all that got taken out by that volcanic hazard. But yeah, so it's a certain type of person who's going to buy a home in here, right? If you're rich, you're not going to live in this little jungle hut and on the rift zone. You can see the rift zone right here, and this home is built inside the rift zone. This home is built on the rift. You can see the rift from sky. You can look at the elevation here and see the elevation. As I've moved my hand, oh, you can't see it on your screen, but the elevation, you can see where the dip is for this rift zone right here. And these homes are built right on it. Like, this is where the earth splits apart and lava comes out every few years. And they filled it in and they put a family in this home. Rich people aren't going to live here. Poor people, retired people. I mean, if you're 75 years old, you can buy a house for $20,000 and live in the tropics. Who cares if your house is gone 20 years? Because you're going to be gone 20 years, right? Cheaper than renting. It's folks are not the best off financially who live in this area, and that what comes with it is, the dangers that meth heads are going to take over your police station and steal all the Red Cross cars. So there you go. Okay. What was that story? Oh, you want me to know what best building practices? Just thick concrete house, man. That's the way you do it. Not trying to create too much lift with your roof design. Joshua, what's the most interesting thing to happen in the last 7 days, in your opinion, after you're done with Google Earth, of course? Most interesting thing happened in the last 7 days? I mean, Trump being indicted on his fourth jurisdiction probably is the most interesting thing. And that there's 32 unindicted co-conspirators who have turned state's evidence against him. That is a lot of people who are trying to cope right now, who don't like the news, really need just to look into racketeering laws, what RICO is all about. And literally, if you are charged in a conspiracy, that means anyone inside that conspiracy who did something bad, that can be reflected on you. Anything they say is equivalent as you saying it. That's why you don't form a criminal conspiracy. That's why you don't form a mafia. Because if the Don says, I want you to kill that guy, and you are some underling and you're part of that mafia, you killed that guy, right? And you have flappy mouth, loose lips people like Rudy Giuliani, who's so demented he can't keep his story straight, just blibber blabbering all day long. And that will incriminate you. So you got 32 people who are like, well, their lawyer's like, well, you're fucked. So you better turn state's evidence because there's no way getting out of this. 32 people who are like, all right, this is what happened. This is how we broke the law. And they signed statements saying that, Trump directed me to do this. We did that. We coordinated here. This is our giant criminal conspiracy. And they laid it all out. So they didn't get indicted because they turned state's evidence. You have 19 people, including Trump, who were told, like, hey, you're being investigated under these RICO statutes. Anything these people said, you can get convicted for. And so you have Trump and 18 others who are like, I'm not saying a word, which will not help them in any way, shape, or form. Because you have almost twice as many people around them who said, yeah, we committed crimes. He did it too. And RICO cases are usually one witness, right? One mob underling. They give him a new identity, make him a carpet cleaner in Sheboygan, ship him off over there into the witness protection. You have one guy in this RICO case who will bring down an entire criminal organization. You have 32 in this one. Unprecedented, absolutely unprecedented level of rats, as it were. He's screwed. Actually, ignore that. The rain line's pretty interesting. Snowboard 1201, happy birthday. What's your favorite route to solving climate change? Is it too late? I mean, we need to get rid of burning fuels in general, of all kinds. Get rid of burning them in airplanes, get rid of burning them in cars, get rid of burning them in power plants. Just stop burning fuel entirely. Now, we're making steps towards that, but the status quo doesn't want to lose out on potential earnings, and so they're putting a lot of speed bumps in there. And it just needs to be like, nope, we're ending it. You've got 2 years to have something new, and just make some sort of deadline. You'd be like, you know what? If we don't get it in 2 years, we're just going to destroy the economy. People won't have electricity, and that'll be that. Because it's going to happen anyway. If Greenland melts, we lose probably a third of our power generation plants anyway, because it'll be flooded with water. So, we have to do something. And I think the best hope for that something is cold fusion, which we're going to need the moon to do. And I don't know if we're going to get there in time. Outside of that, we're going to do something weird, which will have giant blowback, which is like blocking out the sun, putting particulates in the atmosphere, specifically to block out the sun. The problem is the one that people are calling for are sulfurs, like sulfur dioxide particles, which will block out the sun, but also create acid rain. So I don't know if you want to rain acid rain down on the entire planet in order to block out the sun a little bit to reduce the absorption of sunlight on the Earth's surface. And beyond, just planting trees absolutely everywhere to store carbon, I don't know what we can do. It might be too late. We might be too late because yes, the United States is getting a little more efficient with its carbon use per person. You have developing nations that want the lifestyle we have, and they're currently not, 2-car families, electricity all day, every day, air conditioning, stuff like that. And they want those things. You can't blame them for wanting those things. So as Southeast Asia, poor parts of South America, Central America, and Africa all come online, as they become more and more middle class, or a larger portion of them become middle class over the years, there's going to be a significantly higher draw per person as far as like carbon footprint goes. And I just don't know if we'll be able to avoid that without getting them to skip the dirty part of industrialization. When we poison the earth and have lots of smokestacks and all that stuff. We've kind of shortened it a bit in China. China's going super green, have lots of power, windmills and solar plants and things like that. But man, I don't know. I don't know if I personally don't think we're going to solve it in time, and we're going to get hit with the worst climate change stuff in the next few years. And I personally think the next decade we will have a moment of rapid sea level rise as significant land ice falls into the ocean. And it's looking more and more likely that's going to happen. They're thinking it would happen in like the next 100 years. I wouldn't doubt if we see something in the next 10. It makes us go, oh shit. Where like entire waterfront cities are inundated because sea level went up 5 feet in a matter of weeks, stuff like that. Don Caesar Shadem, why do we need the moon for fusion? Helium-3? Exactly, helium-3. The Earth only has like 25 pounds of helium-3, but on the moon there's millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of tons of it. So that's why we need it. It's easy to fuse, does not create any radioactive materials afterwards or any greenhouse gases when you do the fusion. And a truckload of it, like one fuel tank load that you see a truck going down the highway of like gasoline or something, that's enough to power the entire United States for a year. So talk about efficient, very efficient. Jimmy D, Houston, I think the release of UFO stuff was an attempt to distract the plebes and it didn't work because we were too poor to care. I think also a lot of it is we're so inundated with UFO conspiracies and sci-fi movies and TV shows and stuff that like look at these UFOs. We're like, yeah, we know, dude. Cool. Give me a picture of them shaking hands and then I'll care. That's probably like until you bring out like Marvin the Martian and have him shaking hands with the president and signing some sort of peace treaty between us and Galacticon 5. I don't think anyone's going to care at this point. It's like it's really a put up or shut up. And you got a few people who are the more conspiracy-minded folks like, see all this? It's proof. And it's like, well, it's not really proof. It's just a guy saying that he was told there's alien stuff. But I want to see the alien stuff myself. I want to touch it. If I can't touch it, then who cares? Bex, with all the things on fire, what interesting things previously hidden might show up? Like ancient structures that I'm talking about? Man. Honestly? I don't know. Fire's pretty destructive. Although interesting, I saw this really cool documentary. Might have been the first history class I took at Harvard. It shows this documentary about the Dead Sea Scrolls. And so the Dead Sea Scrolls are found in these caves around the Dead Sea. Google Earth it again. Bing. Let's go halfway around the world. Bing. Bing, 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 bing. Okay. So go to the Dead Sea. So this is a super arid place. Dead Sea is like way, 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 way below sea level at 1,363 feet below sea level. In the hills around the Dead Sea, there's lots of like really crazy little canyons. And these are big cliffs. So we're at 700 feet above sea level, and this is 1,300 below. So it's 2,000 foot cliffs here. And all along these cliffs are just, you can see how just steep these things are. There's thousands of caves. In some of the cave systems, they found these like clay pots. Inside the clay pots were these scrolls. Inside the scrolls were early accounts of Christianity, books of the Apocrypha, old versions of the Bible, Torah, etc. And some of them were burned. And a fire had happened inside of one of these caves where they found these pots, and the pots burned in a fire at probably hundreds or thousands of degrees for an intermittent amount of time, but the pots were sealed. So inside is the scroll, and the scroll got up to what would be ignition temperature, but there's no oxygen inside the pot, and so they carbonized, but they didn't actually burn. And what they did with them is, and this is all within the last few years, is they took these carbonized rolls of papyrus or paper or whatever it was, and they put them in MRI machines. And the MRI machines would read them layer by layer, atom by atom. They would scan through it. And they're able to recreate, because, ink leaves just an atom thick layer on the papyrus than the papyrus itself. They're actually able to discern in 3D map that tube and unroll it in a computer and read what was on it. That shit was cool. Super painstaking, but they're able to like unveil what had previously been unreadable scrolls because they'd been in a fire. And if you tried to open it, it would all shatter. So you just took this tube and put it in an MRI, and you got to read the entire thing. I'm just thinking of that because that's the only time something got recovered from a fire that people got any use out of. But I don't know what they'll find. I'm sure they'll probably find lots of not just bodies of people that died in the fires, but a lot of ancestors of Native Hawaiians. One of the things Native Hawaiians on some of the islands would do is when a family member died, they would lay them to rest, and then they would build their house over their ancestor. And it's caused problems for some archaeologists in the past because family buys a home and they want to do upgrades and discover there's like 20 bodies under their house. And what do you do about that? So yeah, I'm sure they'll find the remains of ancient Hawaiians under a lot of these foundations. Yeah, but I don't know what else they'd find. Other stuff just got burnt to heck, right, Monkey? And people aren't being allowed to go back to their homes right now because of the heavy metal content of all the ashes. So electronics burned, treated lumber got burned, so a lot of arsenic, a lot of cadmium, a lot of cesium, a lot of like terrible heavy metals are in these ashes and are getting whipped up by the wind. And so they don't want people going back to their homes looking for their belongings because they're going to just basically give themselves cancers and mesothelioma and stuff. So they're gonna have to have people who are kitted up to go through these places first, or wait for giant rainfalls or something to wash all that garbage into the sea. Because we know solution for pollution is dilution. Phil Yup Tang. Palm Springs here. Anything I should do to prepare? Battery packs, water, cash, is all I can think of. I would look at where in Palm Springs are you? Are you near washes? So we'll fly around the world again. We'll go back to Palm Springs. Here, we'll just type in Palm Springs. Palm Springs. And I'll just take us right there. Whee! Schlap. Okay. So, very dry desert. Depending on what side of the valley you're on, you're going to look at these dry washes. See these guys here? These arroyos, or coulees, or whatever you want to call them. Little canyons. These dry washes are all formed through basically cataclysmic rain events. So, if you are this beautiful home right here, you're going to want to sandbag the heck out of your property line on these sides and these sides, because the water is going to come rushing down. It's going to come like a freight train. If you are on the other side of Palm Springs, on the west side of Palm Springs, where all these developments are, like this entire neighborhood looks like they've got an irrigation ditch that they dug along the sides here. But during a flash flood event, that might not hold. So if you're the homes along here, you might be royally screwed. Or the water that will sheet off of this little hill right here will probably fill up everyone's backyards. So you're going to want to look at where the water is going to channel and how close you are to any of these dry washes that come through. And you can see some of these golf courses are built inside the dry washes. Like this is an entire dry wash that comes down right here. This whole golf club is a part of that dry wash. And you can see they built in, they built these greens around it. But there's going to be so much rain coming from the storm that I think this golf course may get torn up just by the water alone. And like this dry wash splinters off and heads into this neighborhood. So I'd look at a lot of that. And the low point along the valley is the highway. So the highway, highway is at 424, and the quickest goes to 800 on that side. And maybe the low point's over here in this neighborhood. But airport's pretty low. They're at 420. And behind them's higher ground, so the airport might get flooded. I would look all along here, depending on where you live. Man, there's so many golf courses along there. That's ridiculous. I'd look all along here, these dry washes. Like some of these are agricultural fields, and they'll benefit from it in the end because they'll get new nutrients in their fields. But this whole dry wash, this alluvial fan spreads out and will just absolutely fill up the Coachella Valley here. Every time I see these little light lines of these dry washes, if you live near one or at the terminus of one, sandbag. The good thing is you got plenty of sand, and you're gonna get a hell of a workout. So you're gonna want to sandbag like crazy along those lines. But so Salton Sea here, the Salton Sea formed from basically a once-in-a-lifetime rain event. It had been, it's below sea level. The surface is 230 feet below sea level. The bottom of it is even lower than that. And man, it's a stinky lake. But this lake was a big salt flat. There was a giant rain event in like 1920. Might have been from the remnants of a hurricane even. And it filled up and it created this giant lake that stayed around from an overflow of the Colorado River. The Colorado River is over here. So this whole thing filled up. You're at 363 feet here, or 168 feet here. You're at minus here. So when the Colorado River had a flood event, it flooded this whole valley, created the Salton Sea, and then through the irrigation of these farm fields that popped up at the edge of the Salton Sea has stayed filled ever since. It also has a lot of chemicals in it because of all the pesticides, herbicides, fertilizers, etc. But this was created as a result of, I think it might have been a remnant of a hurricane. Let me look that up real quick. Oops. How Salton Sea formed. The large sea is cyclically formed and dried over the historic time in the basin due to natural flooding from the Colorado River. Current Salton Sea is formed. The Colorado River floodwater breached an irrigation canal, being constructed in Imperial Valley in 1905 and flowed into the Salton Sink. Oh, so it was 1905. Just it wasn't accidental. Come on. I thought it was a huge rain event that happened. Okay. But this is saying they're questioning that. Yeah, man, it just says the levee got breached, so that doesn't help me at all. Not one whit. Boom. But yeah, so again, watch out for those arroyos, for these dry washes where the floodwaters will come. And it will come fast and hard. No matter where you are in Southern California. You can be in Orange County, San Diego, up through Ventura, LA County. You're going to have a lot of flash flooding everywhere. The LA River, I'm sure that we'll see some cool videos of flash floods hitting the LA River because that thing will just churn down, and everyone has their cell phone cameras. But the wind will be pretty gnarly too. So look for debris in a lot of them, especially stuff that comes from uphill. Won't be so bad probably in Palm Desert here because a lot of the trees up here, I think the drainages go west, not east where the trees are. But these might have a lot of debris in them, these big washes that come down here into Inland Empire and LA proper. So that's what I'd look out for. Bing. Ooh. I lost my spot. Sorry. Where were you, Phil? Yep. Lang. Yang. Stephen Latham, Houston. Saw a post that Adam Aaron wrote the AMC post reverse split would be $30. I thought it would be whatever the last price was, the reverse split. I mean, right now the price is about $3 and change, so reverse it 10, multiply it by 10 basically, $30-ish, somewhere around there, unless they have a huge price crash next week. The Hobbler, hurricane caused a big earthquake? I don't know why it would do that. So no. I mean, having them at the same time would suck, but Canada's on fire. Got any smoke there? Not yet. The wind hasn't changed. It's still coming onshore. It's sometime usually around the end of the month we get a heat dome that pushes the wind offshore, starts sucking everything out of Canada, and so end of the month, September is usually when the air gets terrible. Bex, yep, air's growth. I'm in Southern Ontario, so air's terrible there. Michael O'Hara, can Hawaii get some koala bears eat those eucalyptus trees? I don't see why not. Populate Hawaii with koalas. I don't see what could possibly go wrong, except everyone gets koala chlamydia. And Judal Houston from UK, Great Britain, ticker NRT is offering a 23% dividend. NRT. NRT stock. It's price action today. So it's $12 stock. It's got some serious cycles on there. Look at this thing. I gotta turn off the Google Earth. I gotta turn on the Chrome. Go to Chrome. Click there. So this is the last year cycle. Some deep lows. Lowest low was 1014, and the highest high was 18. Right now it's at 12 and change. So 23%. So clear. 0.23 times 12.5. So $2.85 dividend. Whew. That's pretty darn good. Dang, son. Why is that stock not warmer right now? Northern European Oil Royalty, fiscal quarter 3 earnings snapshot. I mean, this is one of those stocks that in a year pays for itself at 23%, especially if you reinvest everything. Interesting. That's a big dividend. Good. Duly noted. Jimmy D, Houston. Do you know of any significant dates coming up that will speed up commercial and residential housing collapse here or in Canada, eh? I don't know. I guess we have to look at how many bonds mature, right, when the principals do. So, and then what dates those might be. So if like you have a bunch of commercial real estate, especially for office buildings, things like that, and they're, might be 2-year bonds or 10-year bonds, they're all ending at certain dates. I mean, they were piling up. Because if you have an office building, you don't have enough people in it, you're not making any money off of it, and you're going to owe a $500 million tab to pay off the principal of that building, you're not going to pay it. Why? Because the building's worth $100 million. So you're just going to be like, well, bank, sorry, bad investment on your part, we're out. And the bank's going to go, no, please, no. But all the language coming out of regulators and analysts right now is suggesting that depositors' money, which has been invested into the bonds for these, lending platforms for commercial real estate and residential real estate, aren't worth anything. So, excuse me. Even the slightest run on a bank can probably take any regional bank down, because they'll have to sell at a loss to get cash on hand to give to their customers who want it back. And if there's runs on banks like there was with SVB, I don't think there are many banks in the U.S. that can handle it right now. Their instruments that they put all of their depositors' money into, almost all of them are so terrible. And the fact that we're still raising interest rates, making them worth even less in the end, to try and get the economy to slow a little bit to bring down inflation. Our actions of raising interest rates are dooming our banks, and we know it. The banks are like, please stop dooming us, but we can't have this inflation, so something's got to give. I don't know what the solution is, because if we print our way out of it, inflation happens again. And if we kill the banks, well, then we kill the banks, and we have no banks, and we can't do anything. So there we go. I don't know any specific dates that we'd have for it, though, Jimmy D. I'm sure I could find that information somewhere as to how many bonds are due, when, and where. Oh, let's just look up right now. How many real estate bonds mature in the next 6 months? Corporate bonds, those considering high yield bonds today, we continue to expect spreads to rise and fall next. Okay. Maturity date, interest rate. I'm not seeing anything pop up immediately. Just a lot of articles saying it's the worst year for bonds in human history. Since bonds were a thing, it's the worst year. Since people were using quills and papyrus to write their promissory notes. I don't see anything about that necessarily. Someone who has access to a Bloomberg can probably find that stuff out pretty easily. Kim Turner. Lindell Moore has a new video on YouTube on Sears. Name of the channel is Triangle Blockchain. Lindell Moore. Lindell Moore. Okay, check that one out. Movie 2012, GP Insider buying, McCabe buying soon. Excellent. DeHobler. What do you think is going to happen with XRP and XLM? People ask me this all the time. I literally do not care. I mean, XRP is, the purpose of it is a crypto that banks can use to move money back and forth across the globe. Cool. It might be used in analogous with central bank digital currencies and so on. Hi, monkey. But a lot of people are investing in it as if it's going to moon, and they don't seem to understand that if you have a currency that's the entire point is that you can swap it back and forth easily across these banks, you do not want a currency that has lots of volatility in it. You want something super stable. And so I just don't think of all the cryptos, it's the logical one to do that, because banks don't want that to happen. They want to just be able to move money back and forth and have it be that. They know what they're getting. So like, they don't want it to be like, hey, they sent me a gajillion XRP, it's now not worth anything, and I'm lost. Or I sent a little bit over to this bank, and now it's worth a fortune, and I missed out. They don't want that in their currency. So, maybe a little arbitrage here and there, but not any significant volatility that will make it so they don't want to use it. And if they don't want to use it, then there's no value in it. So, I don't think that those are cryptocurrencies are good ones to be speculative in. Yeah. Michael O'Hara, do fig Newtons have wasps? Yes. Eric Vogt. See a new court filing 1 hour ago floating around about a motion approved an AMC case for a halt and AMC reverse split. Uh-oh. I've not seen that pop up yet. That's 2 days ago, 2 days ago, 2 days ago. So not anything other than 2 days ago. So, yeah, not seeing anything there yet. Beats Better Wood. Houston, long-time listener. I'm looking for a senior design project idea for my electrical engineering program. Any ideas? What are you talking? What were you talking about? Superconductors. Also interested in synths, like synthesizer synths. Man, I electrical engineering is a course I always wanted to take. I want to do that in solid state physics, and was never in a school that offered it. So I know enough to be dangerous, not enough to actually be useful. Cool projects for electrical engineering. I saw a video the other day of a guy who built this contraption that would measure if a door was open or closed, and he put it in the bathroom stall in his dorm, and people would close the stall and go, hee-hoo, and scare the shit out of them while they're trying to take a pee. I like goofy things like that. Cool projects, electrical engineering. Oh, man. Of course, I'm going to draw a blank while I'm sitting here trying to think of awesome ideas. I do like pranks. Freshman year of high school, Christian Schweitzer and I, we had to make a Rube Goldberg machine. And, your Rube Goldberg machine, you have all these little contraptions that attach each other, and you roll a marble down here, and it triggers a mousetrap, which clicks this pendulum, which swings and hits this doohickey. And we could not figure out what we would have ours do in the end. And then we concluded there was a really mean, snobby girl who was just so snobby and stuck up. And so our entire contraption, bells and whistles and things are going off, and they just flung a 5-pound kielbasa into her lap. So that was our project. Projects. How about a hamster-powered computer? People joke about like hamster wheel, like running their underpowered car or whatever. But what if you charge your cell phone or something with a hamster? I don't know. Maybe something else will come to me. I'll think about it. Peach Sunday, happy not birthday, Houston. We haven't been getting any notification about your stream. I apologize. I can't tweet it out anymore. I do put it out on Blue Sky. But the whole clicking the bell thing on YouTube seems to work for a while, then they just stop notifying you. They're like, oh, they're probably over it by now. Don Suja Shade and Bill Ackman shorting Treasury futures. Folks are yapping about a squeeze on Treasuries. Know anything about this? I don't know if there'll be a squeeze on Treasuries just yet, because we're going to have to raise interest rates to attract people to buy them. And that makes ones that already exist worth less, because why would you buy one that has 3% interest rate when you buy one that has 5% interest rate, so on. I don't know. I know that for the last decade, you've got market makers like Citadel that literally naked short treasuries. They'll sell you treasury bonds that don't actually exist, and they promise to go back and get them later. Doesn't seem like they do. So there's that. But they short everything. The whole market's just stupid shorting everything forever and ever and ever and ever. Josh Dobbs, could Easter eggs RC leaves be a serious gray area, legally speaking? He doesn't seem dumb enough to leave Easter eggs for financial trading in his companies, but his ego appears to love stirring the pot. Yeah, I mean, one of the ones Jersey pointed out is that the Dream On Me distribution centers are in Kingston, New Jersey and Princeton, New Jersey. And in the Teddy books, the two little boys in the books are called Kingston and Princeton. So, So, Easter eggs. There seems to be Easter eggs all over the place, and a lot of these things. So, Monkey Butt, give me Easter eggs. Yes, no, maybe so. She's got nothing. But yeah, I mean, all you can do is be like, it just happened to be a coincidence, Your Honor, and that's enough without having any proof. So it might cost someone a lot of money to do any lawsuits that way, and they might not win. Theorems to AMC. Pawpaw trees require pollination for carrion flies, which is why the flowers are supposed to smell like, dead stuff. Yeah, same thing with the corpse flower, which blooms like once every 7 years. It's a big giant skunk weed, this huge proboscis that sticks out of it. And it smells like decaying flesh because they attract all these flies who normally like scavenge dead animals to land on it, and it helps pollinate the flower. So when you go to a corpse flower bloom, it smells terrible. I think they had a corpse flower bloom in the those big testicles that Amazon has at their corporate campus recently. So, you can go smell one. When you see it in the news, go to one. I went to one years ago that blossomed at the University of Washington, and it smells terrible. But it's very memorable. You're like, that's the biggest flowering plant in the entire world, and it smells like dead people. Chris, hi Houston. Thoughts on possible outcomes during an entire system collapse situation at MOAS, FINRA, and government step-in possibilities? We've been talking about these for years, but printing will happen for sure. What form? Don't know. They might be 100-year bonds, which been floated about. So you make like a $10 trillion 100-year bond, and you pay interest rate on it for 100 years, right? And then 100 years from now, $10 trillion is like $1 billion today. And then you just kind of like, if you're a bank, you just kind of cut a check for $1 billion to pay off the bond in the end. But you can't have your banks all collapsing. You can have some of them collapse, others absorb them, but you can't have all of them collapse, because if all of them collapse, then your entire economy is done and you get 1929. So, possibilities. Collateral collapses to nothing, which causes the skyrocketing of meme stocks, right? Through the roof as they squeeze. That the price on these stocks becomes trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. That liability causes hedge funds to collapse, market makers to collapse. It goes on to the primary brokers, which are some of these large investment banks and commercial banks. Those primary brokers, they don't have the cash on hand to handle these liabilities. So they go to the insurance network, and by insurance doesn't mean insurance policy, but like, their funds they set up in case disasters like this happen. There's still not enough money in there to handle this. They have a few $100 billion. They can't handle it. They're selling off blue chip stocks and everything else, all their collateral, not raising enough capital doing that, which is causing the price of a lot of stuff to go down, which is causing the collapse of even more of these hedge funds. They're going to go to the government and be like, hey, government, all of the banks in North America are about to go insolvent. We need help. And the government's going to go, we'll do what we always do. We'll just print a bunch of money and we'll pay this all off and inflation will happen and yada, 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 yada. That's largely what will happen. If we're lucky, a few people go to prison. Right, monkey? Right? Oh, you sweet little dog. Come on. There we go. Yeah. But I don't... There could be things that just get stuck in the gears there and we don't see them coming. So... But the solution in a Keynesian economic system, which we're supposedly in, is you print when you got to print, and you save for the good times when you can, and that's just the way I think it goes. Quantum Shore, plausible deniability. Again, that's talking about Ryan Cohen's tweets there. Okay, Mr. Lasuna, Houston. Have you seen the footage of the volcano lightning in Guatemala, and how and why does that happen? Not the particular one, but I've seen lots of footage of volcano lightning. It happens for the same reason you have thunderstorms. When you ionize atoms, you create a negative charge, and when you get a positive charge, it wants to zap into that, right? So when you have molecules of air quickly rising into a storm cloud, right? As they rise quickly, they pass through other parts of air, and they can get stripped of electrons as they do so. Just like, rubbing a balloon on your hair can make or on the carpet or whatever can make your hair stand up, or rubbing your feet on the carpet, you can electrocute your dog's nose, and so on. You are creating an imbalance of electrons. You are ionizing your atoms. So when you touch something that's equalized or has as positively charged, zap, everything will even out. So as air and clouds rise really quickly to form storm clouds and create lightning, the same thing happens when you have a pyroclastic explosion. You've got a huge, powerful explosion of gas. And imagine how much energy it takes to take a rock and throw a rock 20 miles in the atmosphere, right? That's an incredible amount of energy. I would ask you to try to do that, right? So this thing is hurtling at fantastic rates of speed, passing through air as it does so, stripping the outside of that rock or that dust of these electrons as it does so. And when these clouds form, they're ionized. They're missing a lot of electrons, and so now they're starting to even out with electrical strikes. Which electricity is not going from the cloud of debris down to the earth. It's actually coming from the earth into the cloud. Lightning bolts go the opposite direction of what you think. When you get struck by lightning, lightning's actually passing through you, going the other way, as the electrons are evening out. So that's what happens. So there's the cover of my physics book, which, do I still have it? From no, calculus. Huh? No, I don't have my physics book. But the cover of my physics book from college was actually a picture of a volcano having lightning from its pyroclastic explosion. Mark Sloan, Houston, on Monday you said you're going to talk to Rosa. Did you? Don't. I didn't talk to Rosa. I'll message her. Well, today is Friday is when Muslims do their little Sabbath. So, what's called in Friday in Islam? So I'll try remember to contact her tomorrow. I'm also supposed to go with my niece and nephew, take them to the hot springs tomorrow. Whatever. I'll try to do it before Monday. Just remind me. All right. Love Just just posted a cool lighting volcano photo on your subreddit. Let's check it out. Reddit.com/r/Houston Wade. Boom, boom, boom. Lightning volcano. Here we go. All right. Oh, that's cool. Well, that appears to be not from a volcanic eruption itself, but from the lenticular cloud that's formed over it. So you see this cloud, this hat, quit moving, just here. See this little hat that the mountain's wearing? This is a lenticular cloud. It's not too much of a spaceship looking one because it's got some serious clouds happening. This happens from when there's like crazy wind shear that's coming over the mountain. So you have air rises up, right? And it condenses, forms these clouds. So oftentimes tops of these mountains can form these lenticular clouds. And so my guess is there's probably some just wild winds happening up here that's stripping electrons. And this guy happens to be wearing this little hat of a storm cloud as a result and discharging into what looks like to be a higher storm cloud. So this mountain's a few thousand feet high. It's discharging into a cloud that is way higher. If these are cumulonimbus clouds, they can be up to like 60,000 feet. So probably this is the conduit between where the Earth is going to equalize the charge of the clouds above it. That's cool. That's a different one than what I was thinking with regular like volcanic eruptions, because volcanic plume lightning. So we can get lightning storms inside of these. Like this is from a volcanic eruption. It's happening. These are pretty cool. So that stuff is awesome. That's different. That's different than just becoming the conduit yourself for discharging into a cloud, which is I think what's happening in that Guatemala one. That's rad. Okay. Firms at AMC. Did you guys hear that Adam Maximilian Enron Aaron donated to the Delaware senator that confirmed Judge Zern, who approved the settlement and gave Adam Aaron and the board immunity? Well, that's seems to be how things work in this system. Eric Voet, BRICS gold-backed currency, allegedly debut August 22nd, 2023. Who bets Saudi Arabia switches to BRICS currency for oil since Biden pissed them off? I mean, they might. As I explained to somebody that was messaging me this week, there's a significant problem with doing a gold-backed currency in that there's not enough gold to do a gold-backed currency. The idea of a gold-backed currency is you get the certificate. The certificate, basically says this is worth this much gold. You can get $20 in gold for this, and you have a set price for gold. And so you should be able to take that to your bank and be like, I want gold. And you exchange the certificate for the physical gold. You go, thank you, and you go home. That's how gold certificates, silver certificates, those things worked when the U.S. had a gold-backed currency. Now, the United States, we'll do some math here. How much gold in U.S. gold reserves? So let's do the United States here. So the U.S. has 8,000 metric tons of gold, which is that's 8,000 tons. 8,000 times 2,000. That's 16 million pounds of gold. Okay, 16 million pounds of gold. All right, turn off the Chrome. Got the calculator. Excellent. So we have clear 16 million pounds, right? We have 330 million people in the United States. So this allows each person in the United States. Sorry, I did the math wrong. I want to do ounces. Forget that. So 16 million. Sorry, 8,000 metric tons. Yeah, so that's 16,000 pounds. 16 million pounds times 12 troy ounces. 192. There we go. That's number one. 192 million ounces of gold in the U.S. Divide that sucker by 330 million people. Means each person can get about 0.58 ounces of gold. Now, an ounce of gold is trading at gold price trading at $1,899. So $1,900. So times that times 1,900. Today is about $1,000 in gold. Is about, if we were to evenly spread out all the gold in the United States amongst everybody in the U.S., each person would get about $1,000 worth of gold in today's dollars. Now imagine everyone on Earth, everyone in the United States who makes their average wage of $60,000 a year, right, wanted to go get gold at the same time. Now I want my allotment of gold, as my currency says I can go get it. You would shoot the price of an ounce of gold 0.58 ounces of gold to probably about $60,000, which you're looking at $110,000 per ounce. So if gold suddenly goes from $1,800 to $110,000 an ounce, based upon just supply and demand, right? Then a loaf of bread's at $4. So 4 divided by 1,900. 0.210. Okay. Multiply that by like 115,000, which would be the price of gold after we went to a gold standard. You're looking at $242 for a loaf of bread. Just if everything averaged out as to what it would be, which would cause hyperinflation itself. Now, these BRICS countries, you got India, China, Russia, Saudi Arabia, South Africa are the big ones, right? And you get North Korea and Iran, a couple others in there. They're all spread. Saudi Arabia hates Iran. They hate each other's guts. China hates Russia. Russia hates China. China hates India. India hates China, right? You got North Korea. Everyone hates North Korea. You have traditional enemies that have invaded each other repeatedly. You've got China, India, who are currently in deadly border squabbles over disputed territory in the Himalayas. They're all going to go to this back currency, this gold-backed currency. Cool. They have billions of more people than the United States, which means the demand for gold in their gold-backed currency is going to exceed that of what the United States is, which will cause gold prices to go nuts, which will cause inflation to go absolutely wild in whatever nations that they're in. On top of that, you can't take Chinese yuan out of China. You just can't do it. They trade in US dollars because of it, right? So who's going to pay them? No one wants rupees. Why they don't want rupees? Because India makes a stipulation that if they use rupees to buy stuff from you, they won't exchange it for another currency, which means you got to send the rupees back to get stuff from India. Well, India, the only thing people want from India is rice, and India just put an export ban on rice because they're worried their country's going to starve if they export it. So there's no sense in owning rupees. No one's allowed to have any rubles from Russia because of sanctions from their war on Ukraine. Saudi Arabia has oil, but they're not going to sell it for rubles or rupees or yuan. They don't want to spend their money in those places. Oh, cool! I got a bunch of Chinese yuan for oil. Now I got to go to China and spend it. They don't want to go to China. They want to go to London. They want to go to Monaco. They want to go to New York. They want to go to LA. They want to go to the Caribbean. They don't want to go to China for vacation and to spend their money. They don't want to go to Russia for vacation and spend their money. They don't want to go to India. Maybe some of them go to Goa, but India is a really Islamophobic nation. So I don't really think, a lot of Muslims are going to be taking their vacations there. What the BRICS countries just seem like they haven't figured out how to iron out how much they hate each other to make a system like this work. And if the reason why the United States left the gold-backed currency was because there was too many people and not enough gold. That's it. That's the entire reason. Too many people, not enough gold. We left the gold standard because of it, and we went to fiat. And we have a giant military that backs our currency, so that we don't have as much inflation as other nations that don't have militaries like ours. You look at a nation like Switzerland. Switzerland's probably paying $15,000 to $20,000 a citizen just to bail out Credit Suisse UBS deal. That's a lot of printing from the central bank for a currency that, let's face it, isn't used heavily around the world for much. It's used as storage for wealth from other nations, but then you exchange it for dollars or euros or yen or whatever it is you're going to use. I just don't see BRICS. You have a dictatorship in Russia. You have a totalitarian dictatorship in China. You have a totalitarian dictatorship in North Korea. You have a burgeoning autocrat who wants to be a dictator in India. You got a theocratic dictatorship in Iran, a theocratic dictatorship in Saudi Arabia, and you have an incredibly corrupt cronyist government in South Africa. Nowhere in there is people going, you know what? I trust their currency. No. Right? It's not a model of stability or the type of economic stability that you want out of political systems. I just don't see it working out in the near term for sure. Deucey, if you put out the Maui fire with seawater, could you desalinate the soil with plants? I mean, the soil's pretty salty to begin with because of what's called the evapotranspiration rate. So, I guess we're going back to maps now. Back to Google Earth. Yay! Back to Hawaii, Google Earth. Turn on. There you are. So, all right. I'm going to go back. There you are. Okay. So, you got the windward side where it rains a bunch, and you have the leeward side where it doesn't rain so much. And the big desert is north and south Kohala, this desert here on the Big Island. And the evapotranspiration rate is insane. We're looking at hundreds of inches a year, which means you put out, I don't know, 100-inch tall tub of water. It will evaporate in less than a year, just from the average temperature, just sublimating the atmosphere. The evapotranspiration rate is also in the hundreds of inches a year on this side, but it rains hundreds of inches a year. So the soil here has more draining happening than over here where you have more evaporation happening. And when you have a lot of evaporation in the soil, it draws the water from down below up through the soil and then evaporates in the atmosphere and leaves behind the salts. So you'll get a lot of saltification of the soil out here. And the only way you can combat that is to water like crazy. So these golf courses, I mean, you're getting 5 inches of rain a year, maybe less in some of these places. So these golf courses have to water an equivalent of 200 inches a year to keep the golf course green. So using an insane amount of water to keep this from saltifying. And if you look at, let's see, where's the Hilton Waikoloa? This is the Kino Bay. Yeah, Hilton's down here. So, Manulani, Hilton Waikoloa. So there's a chunk of real estate right here that's for sale. This guy. Now, this is probably for sale for $1 bajillion. But there's a big, when I was there 2 years ago, there's a big for sale sign here. And by the time when I was there, they weren't watering this, and this thing looked like a salt flat. There was no green whatsoever. And my guess is that happened very quickly. It's very white, very salty looking, because all that moisture that was in the soil came up through the soil, evaporated, and disappeared. Nothing. So this stuff is pretty salty to begin with, and so any plants, any of these grasses that grow on these older lava flows here, they're probably fairly salt tolerant, just like would be the stuff that's growing out here is probably fairly salt tolerant, just because of the evapotranspiration rate that happens on these hillsides. Okay, so let's say you use salt water, douse everything. A lot of it, you can use a lot of fresh water and just rinse off the salt. But you will have rusting like crazy of anything that survived. So all the cars would be useless anyway. All the steel structures, steel roofs, those would all have to get torn down anyway. Man. I mean, they do it in like piers and stuff that are on fire, and in waterfront cities, all the fireboats come out and just shoot salt water all over them. So it will put out the fires, but will it have certain types of plants that can help it? Perhaps some of these grasses that grow in saltier soils can. But a lot of these grasses are the ones that caught on fire in the first place. So a lot of the non-native ones were ones that took over here, and they thrived in this environment, and they're the ones that caught on fire. So I don't know if we would just be compounding the problem or if we'd be solving the problem. I'll have to ponder on that one for a while. That's an excellent question. You think a lot about that. Okay. Leroy Sockvibol. GameStop won't stop. No noise. Bankruptcy. Hella noise. Shill. Gonna shill. Bill Pulte. Okay. PPC is going places. Coles is next. Did we point out that, was it Coles? No, it was Big Lots. Big Lots and Coles. We went through a list a couple weeks ago showing market cap companies that are around $5 billion, like Bed Bath & Beyond, and what their stock traded for. And the only ones that were doing the same thing were stores like Kohl's and Big Lots. And meanwhile, everyone else who had $5 billion in revenue, they were worth like $40 billion and stuff, market value wise. So I have a feeling that these big box stores are specifically being targeted by hedge funds. So yeah, why not Kohl's next? Dog Mom, tell me what to see on the Big Island. Okay. Big Island, brah. Go to Mauna Kea. That's where the big telescopes are. Spend the day, get a 4-wheel drive vehicle, drive up, tour telescopes. If you go on a Saturday, at least there used to be, you can go up with a tour group, follow them in your rental car, drive up there, and they'll take you on a tour of one of the big giant telescopes. And these telescopes are some of the biggest, coolest in the world. Keck, Gemini, Ukurt, Subaru, etc. Then there's Lake Waiau. So you do a little day hike, go out to Lake Waiau. Bring a frisbee. I don't know, toss a frisbee from Pu'u to Pu'u because they'll fly really far. Hit a golf ball, whatever. You can go to the summit. We'll hang out at the summit. Be respectful. Be respectful when you go to Lake Waiau. Do not go in the water. It's disgusting. Come down the mountain in the evening and go to the Visitors Information Station, the Viz, and this little building right here. Sorry, this building right here, Onuzuka Center. Yeah, this one here, and this is where the Viz is, and you can do star tours. There'll be probably an astronomy student who will tell you all about the night sky and have cool telescopes to look through in the evening. Do that. You're gonna go out and check out the lava. So right now it's summit eruption happening at Kilauea. So you'll try to get as close as you're allowed to get. And right now is a lava lake happening in the crater. So try to see that if you can. You're gonna want to go to probably do like one of the luau's at one of the hotels or whatever. That's a given. You're gonna want to go to South Point. You're gonna go to South Point, and you're gonna go down here, and you are going to go into the blowhole, which is this hole right here, and you're gonna jump through 40 feet down to the ocean and swim out a cave. And everyone's go ooh and ah. And you can jump off the cliffs and climb back up the cliffs and jump off the cliffs and climb back up the cliffs. You're going to have a great time. You're going to have a fantastic time down here at South Point. You are going to go... You might go check out some of the ranches. Check out Parker Ranch and ride some horses and do that whole thing. You're going to want to go to YPO Valley. So, steepest paved road in the entire world is the road that goes down this cliff face down the YPO Valley. It is a 35% grade, I think, for the entire, 2,000 feet that it goes. It's about 1,000 feet that it goes down. When you go down here, be very respectful. Some Native Hawaiians won't want you to go in certain places. You can go up this stream, and there's a bitchin' 1,000-foot waterfall that 2,000-foot waterfall that comes off of this mountain right here. So there's a trail, goes up the stream. Sometimes you have to walk in the stream because you'll be on private property. But there's an amazing little pool here where the waterfall happens, and there's a 2,000-foot waterfall that goes into this, and it's really beautiful. There's a black sand beach along here, so if it's sunny out, that sand is nuclear. So don't walk on it. But you get some pretty killer waves. Undertow is gnarly. I'll watch someone die here in a big wave day, so don't go in the water on a big wave day. Also down here is in South Point is Green Sands Beach. So a couple miles away, you've got Green Sands Beach over here. This is a bunch of olivine or peridot sand. So it's literally tiny microscopic little gemstones make the sands from a volcanic eruption. All this olivine came out, and so the sand doesn't show up too much on the satellite, but it's green. It's little bits of olivine. It's a little green sand beach. It's not very fun to be in the water here. The waves crash right on the shore and just kind of snap you in half. But it's a really cool spot to see. You can sit in the green sand and go, hey, I was here. Also, this drive is gnarly, so you want a car with suspension to do that. It's not paved or anything. You'll probably do the drive through Ocean View. This is old 1920s lava flows. A lot of like mafia guys on witness protection live out here. Also, there's like no amenities. There's just like Puna, except it's drier, higher up on the mountain. There's no amenities. Everyone's on catchment and there's no rain. You'll want to go to Captain Cook or Kealakekua. Here, the snorkeling is amazing. Absolutely incredible through here. This is where I think Mystery Michael and Rick live out here. Who just sent me some really great stuff. They sent me a soundboard. I got to figure out how to use it. Thank you, guys. I got some sort of soundboard. I think I can make fart noises and stuff with it. So, and a laugh track if I want to. So I got to figure out how to attach that to the computer. Thank you, guys. That's awesome. There's coffee plantations. Probably do some tours of coffee farms, and there's people that grow chocolate and all sorts of stuff out here. Then you get into Tourist Central, which is Kailua Kona. And, the cheaper hotels are probably in town in Kona. If you're going to get vacation rentals, I would look either uphill, where you got some great views and some wonderful evening air, or on the beaches. And then the beaches you want to hang out at will be Mauna Kea Beach, which is lovely, Hapuna Beach. There's a secret beach here, Maume Beach here. So this is a lovely little beach. Absolutely adorable, lovely beach. You have to get here early in the morning. You drive down, turn into Mauna Kea Beach Resort. There's a little guard station right meow. And you pull up, they say, reason for being here. And you say, I would like a beach pass, please. And they'll look at you and go, look at their list. Like, okay, here's a beach pass. They only give out so many. You get your beach pass. You drive down. Drive down. And then you hang a right towards the maintenance facility. Drive past the maintenance facility, past this little bridge. And then you park about meow. You walk down this little trail, cuts over, and you have just an absolutely lovely little beach right here. And it's limited to how many people can be there because they only give out so many beach passes a day. But it's lovely, beautiful snorkeling all along the rocks. The shade used to be really great here, but they had a fire rip through about 10 years ago. So a lot of the kiave trees here got burned up. So there aren't as many good shady spots as there used to be. You can also go to the main part of the resort, which has like the fancy beach. And if you want to get burgers and stuff, you can go in there and get burgers. Mauna Kea Resort is really nice. That's a very, very nice resort. But they've got like the poor people who just drive and park in the parking lot over here. And they got hotel guests who can stay in like the fancy little beds and things. But again, snorkeling's awesome. You sell the coral reefs out here. There's Beach 69s. Oh, sorry, there's Hapuna, which is the big state beach, public beach. You actually get some pretty decent surf breaks on this beach. So there can be good body surfing here. The way the coral reefs are formed actually creates some good body surfing that can happen here. A little bit further down is Beach 69s, or Wailea Bay, which... Beach 69, this is Beach 69. Again, this is one you turn off as you're going to Hapuna, and then you take a left. You head down kind of a janky road. And you get to a parking lot area, and you can see the parking lot here. Actually, they paved it now. That looks much nicer. And there's some homes and some cabins down here. And there's a little trail, walk through, and you have a pretty decent beach. Amazing snorkeling. Lots of shade. These trees are fantastic. Lots of shade here. What's cool is this used to be Neil Young's house. And my friend's dad designed it. He was Neil Young's sailboat captain. Then he went back to school and became an architect, and he designed Neil Young's house. This used to be owned by Neil Young when I was in college. And my friend's dad told me, oh, yeah, just go knock on the door and ask for a tour. And so I did. And the caretaker answered and was like, hey, I'm a friend of so-and-so's. He said I could ask for a tour. And the guy's like, get the fuck out of here. So no, didn't let me. But Neil Young sold it a few years ago. I have no idea who lives in this house now. But he sold it for like $50 million or something insane. Yeah, so this beach is lovely. And then you've got Puako. Puako is a really cool little neighborhood. There's only one little sort of sandy beach in Puako. And a lot of these are vacation rentals you can rent. But the snorkeling is fantastic all the way through here. It is just fantastic reef all along. And there's really neat little houses that were built. All of them are like $10 million. And then you got some of the other big resorts. This is Waikoloa, and you have a couple like little beaches here. You've got a couple little beaches here, and then you've got your Hilton Waikoloa, which is like Disneyland. They got trams and water slides and stuff. This is where we would stay in college. Put like 30 of us into one room, and then play all day. And then there's the main Waikoloa beach, which I think I don't think you have to get a parking pass to go to this beach, but there is no shade, none. You got to bring your own. There's no bushes, no trees, nothing along there. It is just hot in the sunshine, so you want to bring shade with you. And then there's, I can't remember the name of the airport beach. Kekeha, yeah, this one here. So this used to be a 4-wheel drive only road, but I think they paved it. And there's a wonderful little beach here. This beach is all... Those other white sand beaches are a lot of imported sand from elsewhere, quartz sand from other places in the world. This is white sand, and it's all made up of tiny little seashells that have been ground down, and it feels really great on the feet. So this whole beach, there's one sandy one, a little trail between them, and another sandy one. And they're like little chunks of seashell, and they're really massage. And the snorkeling, again, banging all through here. And yeah, this used to be 4-wheel drive only, but it looks like they graded it since then. So that's a good spot. So those are the big places I say visit. Oh, if you do go to Hilo, I mean, go to the Tsunami Museum, go through the Imiloa Astronomy Center, see one of the astronomy shows there. They're really cool. I don't know, wander around the college campus and make people be like, what are you doing here? There's really cool waterfalls all the way through here. So almost every stop along the way, there's like Ka'a Falls, up Wainui Nui. You've got like Rainbow Falls and Boiling Pots and Wailea Falls. There's cool waterfalls all the way through here. Where's Rainbow Falls? Rainbow Falls. This is Rainbow Falls. Wailea. Yeah, this one's awesome. I've done from here, jumped in, swam down through boiling pots, jumped off a bunch of cliffs and waterfalls along the way. Oops, come on, stop it. Went through boiling pots. Over here, where's the power plant? Here's the power plant. So this is the power plant. There's two rivers. There's a river that comes down here and merges with the Wailuku, and there's a power plant on one side. This is, I don't know, 50-foot drop maybe? So let's say 500 down to 479. No, it's a bigger drop than that. It's probably a 50-foot drop. But the biggest cliff I've ever jumped in my entire life is right about here. It is about an 80-foot drop from this cliff into that water. And it took me like 2 hours of staring and working up the courage to be able to do it. But when I did it, I think it broke a circuit in my brain that made it so that I was no longer afraid of heights. I'm never really afraid of heights, but no longer had like the, hey, you probably shouldn't jump off this circuit in my brain. And shortly after I did that jump, I was playing toss frisbee between classes, and I accidentally tossed the frisbee on top of the geology building. And my friend Jake, you guys remember Jake? He came on the show 2 years ago. He gave me a boost up on this awning and climbed top of the roof, got the frisbee, tossed it off, and then rather than climbing back down, I just jumped off the roof 2 stories and just went crunch into the ground, and everything hurt. I'm so glad I didn't like break bones or pop tendons or ligaments. But I didn't have the thing in my head that said, hey, this is really tall. Don't jump off of this, because I've been jumping off like 80-foot cliffs. And I crunched into the ground, and it's like, oh, that's why we have that circuit in our heads. It tells us not to do that. Huh, that's weird. Mine's broken. But yeah, spent lots of time playing these rivers and having a great time and swimming down. And we went all the way down, all the way down, all the way down, all the way down, and swam all the way down. That was Rainbow Falls. All the way down. I think we got to Rainbow Falls, and then this was like too big. We could not jump that one. It's like, yeah, 100 feet. We're not jumping that. So our friends picked us up at the hospital and drove us home. That was a fun, like, couple miles of swimming down. There are lava tubes in this river, and there are people in certain spots that have jumped in and just never seen again, and they get spit out here. So you can see they've done mapping here, sonar mapping of the bay, and there's a weird little pukas, these little holes here. Some of these are where the lava tubes come out. So you might jump into the river here, get sucked into a lava tube that goes several miles and then spits you out into the Pacific Ocean, far, far away from where you started, very unalive. So if you're going to go play in the rivers, you go with some locals that know where to jump in and play, because you don't want to get sucked into those lava tubes and then ruin your vacation for yourself and your family. Those are the big spots. You only have a week, right, Dog Mom? You have a week, so you can hit all that stuff in a week. And then leave you craving to come back for some more. Boom. Okay. Quantum Shore meth heads literally Mad Max to Hawaii. Nice. They do from time to time. Scott Malkinson. Any thoughts? Scott Malkinson. My name is Scott Malkinson. Any thoughts on QuantumScape solid state battery? QuantumScape solid state. I have no thoughts on it because I don't know what it is. QuantumScape solid state battery. Building the best solid-state battery. QuantumScape is on a mission to transform energy storage with solid-state lithium metal battery technology. The company's next-generation batteries are designed. The company's next-generation batteries are... Oops, you guys can't see. You're still looking at Hawaii. Boom. Nope. That one. There we go. Nope. Chrome. Boom. There we go. Are designed to enable greater energy density, faster charging, enhanced safety to support the transition away from legacy energy sources towards lower carbon future. They put that all in white over white. That was a terrible design flaw right there. Okay. QuantumScape developed the industry's first anode-less cell design, which delivers high energy density while lowering material costs and simplifying manufacturing. Our innovative battery cell technology can store energy more efficiently and reliably than today's lithium-ion batteries. How much more? $2 billion of capital investment, lots of employees, battery technology, solid state batteries. Click. Didn't promise solid state technology. All right. Ceramic separators, energy fast charge, enables 15-minute fast charge, 10 to 80% by limiting lithium diffusion bottleneck and anode host material. Extends the lease life. How much? Give me some data. Gravimetric energy density. Okay. Nickel metal hydride, yonder. Lithium ion phosphate, lithium nickel cobalt. Where's yours? So, watts per kilogram. So, I mean, all well and good. GMG's watts per kilogram is going to be like 10 times higher than this. So, I think some of these battery companies, they may find a market for a little bit, but the aluminum ion batteries, I think, have a way higher energy density than even this does. So, I mean, they may get to market and make a big splash, but if they get beat out by other solid-state batteries in the near future, I'm not sure about the long-term viability for them if that's the case. I'll read up on them more. I don't know enough. Do not know enough. Sis54, Houston, I'm in Southern California. Hillary is coming. I hope to make it to MOAS. I don't want to be in the evening news floating down the river in a Yeti cooler. Please don't. And if you are, look good doing it. I'm an hour and a half behind in the comments. I'm not gonna make it. I got 4 minutes left until I gotta leave. There's no way I'm gonna make it. So if you have anything pressing in the next 4 minutes, you're gonna have to super chat it. Otherwise, I'm not gonna see it. I apologize. Try to get to him on Monday if I can. Boom, boom, boom. Scott Paulin, if I can head to you, good materials include flashlights, batteries, water purifier, battery-powered radio, snack bars, bandages, first aid supplies, work boots, and gloves. It's always good to have a bug-out bag. I've got a bug-out bag of emergency supplies that sits in a cabinet downstairs, so that shit's the fan. I grab that thing, and I've got 2 days worth of food, got water, I've got all the stuff I need. It's always nice to have something like that available. I have an equivalent one for the war rig, but the war rig's broken at the moment, so... but we get earthquakes and crazy storms here and stuff, and we just, it's always good to have something like that around. Marlon Rivera, why are authoritarian right-wing leaders so popular, like Bukele in El Salvador or Javier Milei in Argentina? Well, there's a certain chunk of the population that just loves real strong men. You put a big strong man from them, like, oh, I like that big strong man. And they're going to do what the big strong man tells them because it's easier than doing anything else. And it's just the way they're psychologically made. You have other folks who may not be the most aware of what's going on in the news, what's happening, in life, the causes for things, the root causes versus symptoms for problems. And they will gravitate towards whoever most succinctly and earnestly states the simplest solution for something. It might be a really complicated problem that has a lot of steps along the way that needs to be solved, but they'll just say, it's that guy's problem. And they'll go, yeah, get rid of that guy. And that's it. They're like, I'll vote for him because he's so confident in what he said. And you're not going to be able to get them more aware of what's going on until that authoritarian turns on them. And then they go, oh shit, I'm the problem now. I'm not the problem. It's somebody else is the problem. And that seems to be a disconnect for a lot of folks. And then you have the population who's like, screw that guy. He's evil. And then the authoritarian just goes, they're the problem. And that's why. That's why it works so well. And it works really well in educated populations. It works really well in uneducated populations. It just works well in general. If it's just because there's such a large part of the population, probably about 1 in 3 people, just like a big strong man. I want a big strong man to tell me what to do, and I'll do it. And that's it. And those people are, you know, they're the ones that become the foot soldiers because they like it. It's that 20% in the middle that you need to kind of get them to figure out that the big strong man isn't the solution. He's going to say is the answer, and then it's going to make problems worse because that's what big strong men do. They make problems worse. So yeah, that's why they do it. You might have like in Ecuador right now, they got themselves a big strong man as president. A big strong man owns the nation's bank, and the nation's bank is heavily tied in with the cartels, and the cartels have begun running roughshod over the population. When for years, Ecuador had managed to keep the cartels at bay for so long. And now they have this authoritarian in power who's buddy-buddy with the cartels, and everyone's lives are getting ruined. And he's telling them, I'm a big, strong man. I can fix this. And the people who really aren't paying attention are like, well, he says he can fix it, so I'm just going to let him do it. And Ecuador, which was one of the most stable countries in South America, is now turning kind of banana republic. We had the assassination of one of the candidates last week, and by the cartel. And yeah, it's bad. My friend who's from Ecuador, he's having to send huge remittance payments back to Ecuador to his family because his brother took out a loan from the bank for business, and it turns out the bank was owned by the cartel, and now he owes the cartel, and they're like, we're going to kill your family if you don't pay us this 50% interest on this stuff. And so this poor guy is sending all his money back to Ecuador so his family doesn't die. Because his brother made the mistake of going to a bank he thought was a legit bank, and it is the cartel. Yeah, I'm kind of diverting from the main story there, but it's certain populations loves a big strong man, tell him what to do, and that's it. All right, it's time. I got to go. I will catch up with you folks later. I'm like an hour and a half behind the chats. I'll never make it. I'll see you guys on Monday. If I can get my act together, I told myself I was going to do one last week. I didn't do it. We'll do a Twitch stream. Monkey Boy, anything to add other than sighing and sneezing back there? No? All right. That's it for me, folks. I will catch you guys later. Yeah. How about this? Oh, that's not... Wait, what just happened? Nothing happened. Close. Why didn't... This! There we go. Talk about awkward. Man, that was awkward. That was really awkward.